Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. So this evening we were supposed to be having Bhikkhu Bodhi here giving the talk, live streaming out to everybody, and of course, as Ajahn Chah always said, not a sure thing. So they with this coronavirus and it spreading, and Bhikkhu Bodhi felt that he needed to get back to his monastery, cut his time short here, and then cancelled his time of teaching at the Dharma Realm Buddhist University, and is back at his monastery now. He sent word saying that he was back safely, comfortably. Of course, we had the good fortune to have him here for, I guess, a little over 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2.5 weeks. So that was our good fortune, and to host him, look after him. He was in retreat during that time, and the day before he left, we had a Q&A session with him, and I mean it was quite wide-ranging, and one of the things that came up, or a theme that came up that I thought I would talk about tonight, is the 4 protective meditations, and quite appropriate considering the occasion of this period of illness, kind of spreading through different countries, and people experiencing illness, but more just also experiencing a disruption and uncertainty in life and in living situations, social situations. And a feeling of fear, anxiety, that is there, and what do we turn to? How do we handle that? What do we do? And of course, we could always ramp up the fear and anxiety and see how much suffering we can create for ourselves and others. But it's probably not a good response. But where do we find a place of safety? And I think of course, these protective meditations I felt were quite appropriate to, not in that, if you just meditate on these meditations and you'll be magically protected from all illness and uncertainty. That's not how it works. But we can deal with the uncertainty and difficulty of conditions of our life when we have a foundation in qualities that lead to clarity, well-being, and stability. So these 4 protective meditations are Buddhanusati, a recollection of the Buddha, Metta Bhavana, so the loving kindness meditation, Asubhagamatana, the recollection of the unattractive nature of the body, and Maranasati, recollection of death. And these have they work together in helping to balance, and we can bring up different aspects of these or themes of these meditations at different times as appropriate. So like the recollection of the Buddha is helpful for bringing up faith, confidence, trust. And the loving kindness meditation, of course, is directing our attention to those say very wholesome mental states of kindness, compassion, a sense of well-being, and contemplation on the nature of the body helps lead the mind to a place of dispassion, and the recollection of death is helps to establish a sense of heedfulness, circumspection, and a sense of urgency. So these are, broad brush. Those are the say qualities that are helpful for balancing the mind, and then of course contemplating. Well, what is happening in the mind, and in order to do that, it's always helpful to get grounded in the body, establishing mindfulness. Breathing is just taking a deep breath, breathing in, letting the breath go out, settling into the present moment of this experience. And kind of here and now practice. This is the way it is. What's the experience? What am I feeling? What is the experience right now? And of course that quality of mindfulness and being attentive and alert is that is an essential piece of whatever meditation we do, because it's so easy to drift into either projection, proliferation, or trying to push stuff away, or trying to gloss over and not being willing to look at our own experience, feeling, emotion. So just breathing in, breathing out, being present, establishing that, that clarity of attention. And relaxing into it, relaxing into attention and alertness. And then seeing, okay, what is an appropriate theme to bring up into the mind, into the heart for its contemplation and recollection. What seems useful for seeding the mind with a direction or a trajectory of contemplation, because the mind is going to. It's the nature of the mind to think, to conceive, to conjure up objects of attention, and to be willing to give the mind objects of attention that are helpful, are beneficial, that are, say, protective, that are create a sense of safety and stability. And there's the Buddha as the contemplation, and one of those, say, the benefits that is always given as the and purpose of the recollection of the Buddha, recollecting the different qualities, recollecting the presence or the centrality of the Buddha, in the sense that the Buddha was a human being who was born in the world, lived within the world, experienced pain and pleasure, experienced illness and inevitably experienced death, experienced praise and blame, and experienced the whole range of human activity, really, but was able to see, understand this human condition and be liberated, to be awakened. So that the quality that is oftentimes pointed to as the benefit or the purpose of recollection of the Buddha is Tathagata Bodhisattva, faith in the awakening of the Tathagata. That this is both, say, a reality as well as a possibility. And the Buddha always pointed to that. This is not, say, his awakening, his enlightenment was not something that was limited to himself. This is something that is available to anybody who has a body and a mind and willing to give their attention and energy to this eightfold path of training, sila, samadhi, panya, of virtue, of meditation, of discernment, and this is a possibility for all of us. So that gaining of confidence, gaining of inspiration, gaining of faith, trust. Faith is a bit of a dodgy word for most of us in the English language. But to get that sense of it, that sense of confidence and trust. And that quality of say of confidence in the Buddha ends up extending itself to the confidence in the teaching, and confidence in the path, confidence in those who fulfill the path. So the Buddha, there's a discourse where the Buddha is speaking with Sariputta, and talking about that sense of what is the say the benefit or the purpose or the effect of having confidence and faith in the Tathagata, in the Buddha, and Sariputta then goes through the sense of what happens is that with that confidence, then there's it's to be expected that and the appropriate response or the appropriate result of that faith is that one there's a rising of effort or energy, application towards the cultivation of the wholesome and the relinquishing of the unwholesome, and that with that effort and energy that arises out of that confidence, and then it's to be expected that that person will be more mindful. They'll be more present. There'll be more. There's a steadiness in mindfulness, and with that, say that confidence, with that energy, with that mindfulness, it's to be expected that the mind will become peaceful, become stable, and become steady. That is to be expected. And similarly, then, with that, with that confidence, with that energy, with that mindfulness, with that concentration, it's to be expected that there'll be a clear seeing of the nature of samsara, nature of the human condition, and a clear discernment of phenomena. It's a natural occurrence, and then with those things in place, then it's to be expected that that faith, that confidence is going to be even more stable, steady, present in the way that say those things that I had heard about or heard the teachings about. I have the opportunity. I have experiences for myself. I have had come in contact with it, and say myself. So it's a this virtuous loop of experience, the basis being the recollection of the Buddha for encouraging that sense of confidence, of trust, of faith. And the various qualities of the Buddha, the various aspects of the Buddha's consistency, and you looking through the 45 years of teaching, and there are just so many things that are worthy of confidence, worthy of faith. So that's something that is it's a protection. Because the tendency to say to either to fear, negativity, cynicism, those tend to pull one down. They tend to drain one of a sense of energy and well-being, and being alert to that, paying attention to that which is going to lead to a feeling of safety and well-being. Metta bhavana, the meditations, contemplations, recollections of loving kindness. And of course that extends to the other, because loving kindness is, it's rarely treated on its own. It is talked about on its own sometimes, but it's always seen as your doorway into the Brahma Viharas, the divine abidings, and that those divine abidings also are balancing factors. That the loving kindness of that wish for well-being, the wish for happiness, and which is intrinsic in any living being. Any living being wishes to be happy, to be safe, to be secure, to be comfortable. And then compassion is in the same way a universal wish for freedom from suffering, freedom from difficulty, freedom from the things that are, threatening in some way. And mudita in terms of a sense of non-jealousy, non-contention, one delights in the goodness of others, delights in the success of others, delights in the good things that are around one. Because it is easy to forget, or it's so easy to focus on again on what is negative, and it's not useful. That seeing of and delighting in others' well-being and others' happiness. And equanimity in the sense of being, not perturbed, not shaken. Equanimity, one of the things it does not mean is indifferent. It is one recognizing the full range of experience, and one is not shaken, not perturbed. There's an evenness and steadiness there, and but again, that doorway of loving kindness is important. And that wishing of well-being for oneself. It's like one of the expressions of how Bhante Gunaratana, his formulation for the cultivation of say Metta Bhavana. Yeah, may I be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to me. May no difficulty come to me. May no problems come to me. May I always meet with spiritual success. And these are this articulating of the wish and aspiration, and it's an aspiration towards that which is leading to happiness. And then of course when it begins to extend that, because in the reality that we're not any different than anybody else, and all beings have that same wish. And how do we lift that up, extend that, expand that out? And of course, the more we expand that out to others, include others, we ourselves experience the fruit of that. And we ourselves, as I feel, experience a sense of safety and protection. So that cultivation or giving attention to that wish for well-being, loving kindness, may myself, may I be happy, may I be safe, may I abide in well-being as an aspiration. But then, may all beings abide in well-being. May all beings, not reserving it for others. So that expanding the heart to an immeasurable, apamanya, immeasurable, extensive, expanded. Or as in the chanting that we do, abundant, exalted, immeasurable. And that is because the mind can, without attending to it, it's so easy for it to collapse in on itself, and that going to the, rather than abundant, exalted, immeasurableness, as collapsing in on kind of abandoned, exhausted, miserable. It's not a great default option. so that sense of, okay, yeah, you realize you've got options, and to exercise it. It's like a muscle that you exercise, and And there's a need to exercise different muscles. And so and in spiritual cultivation, I mean, there's different tools we need to become familiar with and comfortable with, so that of course, mindfulness of breathing, Buddhanusati, a recollection of the Buddha, loving kindness, and the contemplation of the body, contemplation of death. These give a certain grounded and a certain comprehensive. Say, like for myself, I've been, just in terms of physical exercise. I do my routine in the early morning when I get up, and it helps me to keep sort of limber, and then I get on a treadmill every day, but if I have to walk up the hill, those are muscles I don't use. I don't go up and down the hill regularly at all, because of my physiotherapist forbidding me. But still, you realize, those are different muscles, so you, in the same way, if meditation is only keep, mindfulness of breathing, just like a in out, and just try to shut everything else out. The mind doesn't become adept at holding different, and if different experiences, different, either internally or what we receive from externally, so that those different spiritual faculties of faith, of energy, of mindfulness, of concentration, of wisdom, learning how to cultivate them, the ways in which we can brighten the mind with a contemplation of the Buddha, or even, it doesn't have to be discursive, reflective. It can be like taking an image of the Buddha. I think and any of the Buddha images that we have here in Abhayagiri, and say the one behind me here, or the one in the dining hall, the one up in the ordination platform. Those are all, to me, inspiring and soothing images. If just bringing that to mind and holding the image, because there's a peace that is exuded from that. That sense of what is peaceful, what is sublime. And of course, that relinquishing of the proliferating, how the mind trundles away and wanders off into sidetracks that are keep spinning the mind. So learning how to settle down, loving kindness and faith, peace, dispassion. particularly at this this particular point in time, with a global pandemic, it's bodies are, they're subject to aging, sickness, and death, and that's and particularly illness. They are constructed from the four elements. They're all the different organs have to be functioning together, and if it's not one thing, it's another. I remember one time being. I went and I was staying in the hospital, helping a monk who was sick, and he was starting to be a bit better, starting to recover, and so I went out to the hospital and this was when I was still living in Thailand in Ubon, and Ubon's a regional hospital. It's a big hospital. It's also a teaching hospital, a nursing school there, and so anyway, they've got I went to the library to research something that had come up in my mind about an illness, but then I go to the library, and then it's it's still, it's a big hospital, but still it's it's a backwater in the countryside of Thailand. So, but they've still got a really large, much larger than this hall, and of course rows and rows and rows of books and shelves filled with books, and it hit me. Well, every single book here is about some disease that the human bodies prey to. And that's a lot of books, and this is just some podunk hospital. This is not even like a real research hospital or something. And I could read these books all my life. I still wouldn't be able to read about all the. So it's just sort of, this is awesome, and it's what things happen to the human body. It doesn't mean you throw up your hands and roll over and die. But there's a sense of dispassion and a certain care and kindness that one has to exhibit to the human body, but then contemplating it. Hair of the head, hair of the body, nails, teeth, and skin. These are these classic meditation is going through the body from the outside through the inside, and just all the different aspects of what we call, when we think of me, we don't usually think of our intestines or the tears and sweat. Those are it's much more glamorous and glorified than that. We think of me. But, that's a reality. Human bodies are like this. So I'd say it's helpful to put it into perspective. So that contemplation of the body, contemplation of, that it's like that. I remember in a talk that Ajahn where is there because at say like at Ajahn Chah's monastery, in the hall, the main hall, there was always two skeletons hanging up as a contemplation. And he said, so many keep hearing that people walk in and they see a skeleton in the hall, and they're afraid of that skeleton. And they said, so why do you do that? What do you have? And sort of like as if that skeleton out there is something. You said, but you're carrying around your own skeleton with you. You eat with that skeleton. You go to bed. You sleep with it. It's just this is as ordinary and natural as anything. And that's just the nature of the body. And if we didn't have that skeleton, we have a hard time. It's sort of this. I don't know if we'd make out as. Octopus tend to really move quite, quite well. I don't know if we do as well with. So there. So it's contemplating the body and saying, "Oh yeah, well there it is." Contemplation of death. Contemplation of death isn't it's for that sense of, a sense of urgency, a certain sobering urgency, because there isn't anybody who is completely comfortable with death. That's the fundamental within the human condition. That's your fundamental basis of fear, and fear is a condition that we all experience. But by being willing to lift it up in the mind, to contemplate it, to look at it a bit more carefully, because that's the problem with fear, is that it's often unexamined. It's and when something's unexamined, not accepted, not a sense of discernment around it, then it keeps looking for an object. It keeps moving, trying to, and that's the nature of fear. It will find an object, and so that sense of contemplation of death is being conscious of that reality, and it's not in a depressing or alarmist kind of way. What happens when it is, contemplated, allowed in and reflected on, it's actually empowering or enlivening, because that sense of heedlessness or kind of distraction or say lack of circumspection. It tends to be one sees that more clearly, and then there's this sense of presence and not wanting to waste time, waste opportunity for for say well-being, for wisdom, for goodness, not taking anything for granted. So that these are what the Buddha calls protective meditations, and they're say at a time when there is a well-deserved concern and appropriate caution on a social level. One also wants to bring in this sense of how do we establish a sense of security or safety, protection. I think that our hearts, our minds, our own inner being has to be nurtured, has to be looked after, has to be cared for. And we can do that. It isn't sort of going to wait for some government program to help me be happy and peaceful. You can be working on that. You can be taking responsibility for that, and that's something that's a benefit to yourself. It's a benefit to others. It's a benefit to anybody one is in contact with. So that this sense of these are quite. It's a quite important, interesting set of teachings that the Buddha called protective meditations, and they're well worth bringing to mind and developing. So I'll offer that for reflection this evening.
Andamayam Dhammakataya Sadhukaram Dharmase